Hey, welcome back, my amazing student. This is the Python Mentor here. In today's lecture, we're going to be learning about membership in iteration. Now, what is membership in Python? Membership means just checking a value if it exists or it doesn't exist and using the keywords in or not in, all right? So let me just create a membership real quick here. And guys, this is not, this is easy in a way, but it's very important for you guys to know this, to have this knowledge. Right? So I would not be showing it to you if it wasn't important. We're going to be using this a lot in the next progressive courses that we're going to be creating for you guys. So I'm going to look for Brian for this specific value here. I'm going to put a comma to pass a second argument to this print function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if Brian at yahoo.com exists in contacts, right? So I'm going to say in contacts. See that? Now this is supposed to give me a Boolean value back. If it does exist, it's supposed to give me a true value, right? So we'll do that, and you can see that it says true here. All right, let's clear that out again, and you can see that it says true, right? So now if I do the same thing here, and I'll check for, let's say, Alex. Let's change that here. Right? It's going to say false because it's not there, right? Now, I can always use the other keyword too, not in, right? And of course, this one is going to give me true because, of course, Alex is not in contacts. So this will give me a true value. Now, let's go ahead and, of course, you guys know how to iterate through sets, right? We'll do, and just because I have to do it, because I put it in the course curriculum, right? I'm gonna loop through this. And of course, we'll see the email of each individual contact here, right? We could do that. We know how that works. Great. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna be comparing lists versus sets in speed, all right? I'm gonna show you how to do this. First, I'm going to do it an old-fashioned way here. Let me just go ahead and take all these print statements out from here so that way we don't have anything on the console and it doesn't intervene with what I'm wanting to show you. So let's go ahead and create a list and a set here, iteration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do big list here, and I'm going to use the list function here, right? Or the list class behind the scenes, right? But we'll use this and we'll say range, and we'll do, let's say, 1 million. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let's do one for the big set here. So this is just gonna loop through it. We're just basically faking data in a way, not making real data, but making our programs loop over something for a million times, right? So let's do set here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this big list that I have here. Just like that, all right? So now what we can do is let's create a new line here. And let's just say membership speed test. And this is just a rough idea. It's not going to be 100% accurate, all right? And so let's go ahead and print how fast this thing is. Now, we might not notice how fast it is because this is doing it in microseconds. So we might have to use the second choice that I have, all right? What I'm gonna do, let's loop through and find out if 99 and 3 more nines is 999,999 is in list, right? It should be in list. So we're gonna make it loop 999,999, right? In big list. And let's do the same thing for the big set. Now, when we go to console, I'm going to save this. And we'll run this. And you can see now that, yeah, these results are actually happening instantly in microseconds. So we won't be able to notice anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a module to see this a little bit better. So we can see this in action. Let's import this module called time it. All right, this is, I'm going to build this code here that's going to give us a better a sense of what's actually going on, all right? So let me change this. Now, just to give you some hints here, sets are supposed to be 1,000, 20,000 times faster than lists, all right? Well, I'm exaggerating there, but they are designed to be fast. That's what they are designed for, right? To be fast. Anyway, let's go ahead and I'm gonna use this module here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this guy here. Let me just put this string here. So the first argument here would be what we want this time it module to be running, right? We want this to be running, right? This code, right? But we want this to be run a certain amount of time. So this, the second argument here is the setup. And now we don't have a setup yet. We're gonna do a setup in a minute. I'm just explaining to you the anatomy of this for now. And this here, the third argument for this would be the number of times, let's say 100 times, right? So that is the anatomy of this, the code that needs to be run. How many times do you want that code to be run? Now, don't confuse that with, we're gonna do this 1,000,000 times 100. No. The code is gonna run this, right? And it's gonna check 100 times if this value exists in the 1,000,000 times, in the million range, right? So let's go ahead and do the setup here. So this module here, what we can do, we can create a variable here, and we'll use the strings in Python, right? This is not, this is a multi-line string. And what we can do is we can have this inside that string, and that this module allows us, it's gonna read code inside the strings, all right? So we can have Python code in there. Let me just do that. And now here in that setup, I'm gonna pass in the setup variable, all right? Don't worry too much about what this specific module is actually doing. What I like about what we're gonna be noticing here, the most important thing is that which one of this is going to be faster. Now, this module, of course, is gonna average things out for us as well. So that's really good to have, all right? There's a lot of modules in Python that would give us, different results on depending how they are set up behind the scenes, all right? So this should be the set. Let me see, in big set, actually, hold on. It needs to be exactly like this here, big set and big list, all right? There we go. All righty, and let's go ahead and print out some of these results here so that way we can see that. So let's look up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put, hold on. Sorry about that. I'm doing this outside. This is all in here. Yeah, list test. And let's do some decimals here so that way we can see. So let's do 6F. All right, very common in programming to do that. So that way we can see this in 6 decimal places, right? Seconds. This is for seconds. All right. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. All righty. This would be the set test. My keyboard is actually failing. Guys, when you code a lot, things are just gonna fail on you. Anyway, let's go ahead and do this, and you can see now you will be able to see how fast sets actually are. And hold on, let me just make sure that it says sets here too, so that way you can see it. Look at that. Look at that. Look how many seconds this thing actually took in comparison to sets, right? Almost instant, and it went out 1,000,000 iterations. And we checked that 100 times just to make sure, right? And we averaged that number, and you can see that. Microseconds here compared to lists, all right? I want you to keep in mind that, because when you're learning these fundamentals, this is one of the reasons why I'm giving you these fundamentals here, is so that way you can write better programs in the future. So when you're saving things on a list, keep in mind that sets are actually a lot faster to have data looked up, right? To look up data. Anyway, guys, that's it for this lecture, all right? A membership and iteration. Thank you so much. If you like this lecture, if it helped you in any way, please give me a like, make a comment, or just, subscribe to the channel. Why not? I'll see you guys on the next lecture.